Hi there, this is John Barton from JB Cases. I've been asked some questions about cue length and our cases, and I often get asked the question, will our cases hold a 30-inch cue or a 31-inch cue? So I need to make a couple clarifications here about what exactly that means when people say that. So typically a pull cue is about 58 inches long. So, and when people say that, it means when you stand it on the floor and you measure it up to here, it's about 58 inches. However, a lot of people like cues that are a little bit longer. Let's see what this one measures. I don't even know, actually. So this one measures 58 1/4 inch. Okay? Now, the reason that cues are typically about 58 inches long is because that's pretty much what they've evolved to be for most people. They used to be 57 inches long, even 56 inches long, and then eventually they've gotten longer and longer over time. But in the industry, most production cues that you find will be right about 58 inches. Now, having said that, when you say a cue is 58 inches, then the next thing that people think of is that when their parts are broken down, each part should be 29 inches. Well, that's usually true of the shaft, but where you run into an issue is when you get to the butt. Because while the butt itself is 29 inches, from the joint to here you have 29 inches, people often don't account for the pin, which could be an inch or more. So at this particular one right here happens to be, it looks like 1 1/4 inches for this one. So that would mean in the case, the total length of this cue would be 30.4 inches, or I mean 30.25, so 30 1/4. That's what the case would have to hold, is 30 1/4 inches. Now a lot of people use joint protectors. Okay, now joint protectors, I'm sorry, a lot of you I know, or this is simple stuff for you, but joint protectors themselves can be longer. So, for example, when you then turn around and you put joint protectors on a cue, so say this one, this is not the right joint protector for this, but I'll just put it on to illustrate. You'll see that it makes that part longer, so this would actually be now 30 inches on the shaft, approximately. And if I took the other side and I put it on here, again, this is not the proper one, so it's not going to fit, but you can see that right there is going to add another 1/2 inch to 1 inch to this cue. So this one, for example, just using this as a joint protector, okay, would be, now I have a total of 31 inches that I need to get into the case. Well, what we've done is we have made all of our cases fit 31 1/2 inches up to the lip of the case. So basically, when you put your cue in, at the lip of the case right here, you should be able to comfortably and easily fit 31 1/2 inches. Now, all of our cases also have EVA padding at the bottom, which is basically, if you think of flip-flops or something like that, it's hard foam rubber. Okay, it will compress, but it's made to last forever, so it doesn't compress a lot. So you'll get maybe a 1/4 inch out of that if you press it in. But basically 31.5 fits comfortably in our case. Now, what we've done is you can fit 31 1/2 in the case. However, what happens if you have a cue that's 29 inches with, say, a 1 inch joint? So then it will sink lower. So what we've done for that is we make our cases here with deeper cavities. So I'm not sure if you can really see in there, but we make it with deeper cavities so that a 29 inch cue will go in no problem. So let me show you what that looks like. So this one, as we said, is 29 inches with a 1 inch, 1 1/2 inch joint. So when this cue goes in, it will sink down, so you can easily still reach in and get it, no problem. And then if we put the shaft in the same way, you'll notice that the shaft parts here are recessed even further. They're set at 28 inches so that the shaft can go in, a 29-inch shaft. Let me take this joint protector off. A 29-inch shaft will go in and seat, and you've still got over an inch of space to reach in and easily grab that shaft and take it out. So that's what we do. So 29-inch cues fit no problem in our cases. And if you happen to have the need for something longer, for example, so we'll put this joint protector back on. If you happen to have a cue that's longer, you'll see that it also sits comfortably right in there like that. So I'm going to push this all the way in, and you'll notice that we've got about a 1/4 inch of extra space there. Now, on this particular case, our basic rugged, because we do the lid with a cavity and a zipper, you've actually got another inch, about 1 1/4 inches of space as well. So this particular one could hold even longer cues. Now, I do have a tape measure here, so we'll, of course you know that since I just measured the cues. So as you can see with the tape measure, lock that in place, I don't want to cut myself with this. As you can see with the tape measure, we go right up to 31.5, right there like that, so no problem. And all of our cases, whether they're an expensive case, this one goes up to 31.5 right here where the lid comes over. All of our cases will fit this without any problem. Now, just to show you the differences between older cases and these, this case here, I'm not sure of the era. Let's see what it will fit all the way to the top here. So that one bottoms out. Let me get it all the way over here so you can see. That one bottoms out at about 30.5. So 30.5 is this one. Now let's take a tube case from an older era and see where that comes in. This is a J. Flowers or a JEF case. This one I don't know if it's actually a JEF. It might not have been made by Nora Van Horn. But this case right here, the guy who made it or had it made was the I consider him to be the kind of pioneer of this Western style case. Let's see where it bottoms out at. So you'll see here, if I can show you that, it's kind of hard. We'll bring this over here and see if it can be seen. It bottoms out right at about 30 inches, right there. So as you can see, just as a comparison, if I take this cue with the joint protector and I put it in here, you'll see it won't fit. Okay, now even if I take this off, you'll notice that the pin sits up above right there. So for this one, you know, I would need an even shorter cue to make it work. So you know, that's another thing about JB cases. I've spent a lot of thought about the exact size of these cavities and the compartments. And so, yeah, I mean, if you have a regular length cue, which again is about 58 inches, it'll fit no problem. And if you have an over length cue, say at 30 inches, with a 1-inch pin or 1.5 inch length with your joint protectors, that also will fit with no problem. So again, thank you very much for your time. Remember, if you don't want to build it yourself, please give us a call, jbcases.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.